My name is Charles F. Waddell. I live at 2265 Lee Drive, Burlington, NC. I'm a World War II veteran. I was drafted into the Army, took my basic training in Camp Gruber, Oklahoma, and was sent overseas from there as a replacement. And I went to San Francisco for about a week or two and got ready to go overseas. And I was sent overseas to New Caledonia. And from New Caledonia I went to Bougainville. Went to Guadalcanal. Although most of the fighting was done there before I got there. But from there I went to Bougainville, which I stayed there longer than I think in most any other place. I stayed there about 6 months. And there's where I joined with the Americal Division and stayed with them until the war was over. There was a lot of fighting on Bougainville. I was a field lineman. I laid lines I was in field artillery, laid lines to the guns from headquarters battery. And I was actually in headquarters battery, division artillery. And when we finished Bougainville, I went to the Philippine Islands. I was on Leyte, Samar, and Cebu. I was on a couple beach heads there, which was, as all beach heads are, was terrible. And was in the Philippines fixing to get, when the atomic bombs was dropped, I was loading we were trying to get ready to go to invade Japan itself. Our division was supposed to be about the 2nd division to hit the mainland of Japan. But thank goodness the war ended. We didn't have to do the invasion of Japan. I spent a lot of time in the Philippines beforehand and was on those 3 islands in combat. Got to Japan, I stayed there for till January. Was sent back to the States to Seattle, Washington. Went from Seattle, Washington back to Fort Bragg by a slow train, and was discharged in Fort Bragg in February.
Charles, one thing I know about you that you didn't mention, and it happened to more than 1 or 2 or 3, but combat, as you know, is a terrible thing. But you actually had wounds in the war. You do not have a Purple Heart listed, but could you tell just a little bit about that?
Well, I was crossing the road laying some line to the guns and from headquarters battery, and I was up a coconut palm tree, and an explosion, a shell burst about 100 yards from me, and I got hit with 2 pieces of shrapnel, one in the leg, one in the hand. They did not do much damage, and we bandaged them up and never reported it. Therefore I didn't get a Purple Heart. which if I'd have got one and I'd reported it, I'd have got out of the Army about 2 months earlier, I expect. Because there was points on that, which I didn't get on that account.
When you were there in the Philippines, describe that land as best you can from your perspective as you went there, and it was pretty much a historical place of significance having to do with some of the very early parts of the war. But you guys got there later in the liberation effort.
Right. There was not much left of the towns that I saw. It was pretty well knocked out from the Japanese and the Americans, taking it back. A lot of stuff was destroyed. It was in bad shape. The people was just on the move all the time. There was more like people was on the move all the time because they didn't have any permanent houses. The only thing they lived in practically was bamboo shacks made out of bamboo, and they cooked outside, practically lived outside.
Real place of devastation.
Yes, sir.
Pick up anything from that in your own life to be appreciative about?
People in the United States don't know about it.
Hard for them. It's hard for you to remember it.
That's right.
Well, Charles, I want you to know, as I tell many veterans, I truly appreciate what you have done for our country. And I thank you for coming here today.
And in nearly 3 years of service time, when I finished basic training, I had what they called a delay in route. I had 7 days. I was in Oklahoma. It took me 2 days to get home, 2 days to get back. I had 3 days at home all the time that I had in the Army. It's the only time I ever had any time at home.
So you were stationed really away to where it was near impossibility
That's
to
right. I was overseas about 85% of my time as I was in service.